Hey guys, this is Wacco, and today I'm going to talk about Affliction Warlock PvP as of patch 7.1. Affliction Warlock is a spec that focuses on rotting down the enemy with damage over time effects while also keeping himself alive. I'm going to talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, the core abilities, the talents, honor talents, rotation, and artifact trait progression. And I'm going to jump right into it. One of the biggest strengths of Affliction Warlock is their crazy spread pressure. You can apply dots to everyone in the arena and rot them all down at the same time, which makes things very hard for their healer, especially when Stampering kicks in. Another strength of Affliction is their survivability. You have two defensive cooldowns being Dark Pact and Unending Resolve. Dark Pact sacrifices 20% of your demon's current health and grants you a shield for 400% of the sacrificed health, lasting 20 seconds. This can also be used while you're stunned or feared or in any other movement impairing effects. And then you also have Unending Resolve, which reduces damage taken by 40% and grants immunity to silences and interrupts for 8 seconds. Besides those two defensive cooldowns, you also have Siphon Life, Drain Life, Health Stone, and Soul Leech. Siphon Life is a damage over time effect that you can apply to multiple enemies, and it heals you for 100% of the damage dealt. This gets pretty crazy when you have it taking on multiple enemies, and you just have like constant sustained healing coming at you. It's pretty strong. Alright, and then you also have Drain Life, which is a channeled effect that deals damage and heals you for 200% of the damage dealt. It's worth noting that Affliction's Drain Life is much more powerful than Demonology or Destruction because of a passive that you have called Secrets of the Necrolite. And that increases the damage dealt by 200%, and it doesn't change the healing though, but that doesn't really matter because it's already healing you for 220% of the damage done, so the 200% damage buff to Drain Life plus the 220% of damage dealt being healed back at you, it's a pretty substantial heal. Drain Life also has a very good synergy with a few honor talents, being Rot, Decay, and Essence Drain, but I will get to those when I cover honor talents in a later segment in this video. Healthstone is an item that warlocks can make for themselves or party and raid members. When it's used, it heals you for a pretty substantial amount, and with the artifact trait Sweet Souls, it also heals you for an additional 25% of your maximum health. And if any party or raid member uses a Healthstone, it also heals you for the amount that they were healed. So that's like quite a bit of healing coming at you in like a 3v3 arena. When like they're low and you're low, they use their health stone, heals them up, and it heals you up, and then you can also use your own health stone, which will heal you probably up to full health then. All warlocks also have a passive ability called Soul Leech, which basically makes all of your single target damage dealt by you or your demon grant you and your demon a shield for 13% of the damage dealt, up to 15% of your total maximum health. It's also worth noting that Dark Pact and Siphon Life are talent choices, not just like given abilities that all Affliction Warlocks have, but I'll get to that when I cover the talents in this video. Alright, so that kind of covers all the strengths that I wanted to talk about for Affliction Warlocks. Now I'm going to cover some of the key weaknesses of Affliction Warlocks. One of them is that Warlocks don't have any baseline mobility. The only mobility that you can get is a talent on the level 45 tier called Demonic Circle. And you click it once and it puts a little circle on the ground, and when you click it again, it will port you back to that circle on a 30-second cooldown. And I usually run with that because it's the only mobility that I can actually get. Another weakness of Affliction Warlock is they don't really have super high burst damage. Like, they can get some pretty high burst damage, but like compared to like Destro or Demo, they're more sustained damage versus burst, which can be a bad thing in certain situations or comps. Alright, now that I covered all of the strengths and weaknesses of Affliction Warlock, I'm going to cover the core abilities of Affliction Warlock. The first one being Siphon Life, which is a damage over time effect that heals you for 100% of the damage dealt, which I went over in the survivability part of this video. The second one is Agony, which is a damage over time effect that you can put on targets. At first it really doesn't do a lot of damage, but as you can see like right here, it's kind of ticking up on the bottom there, like 5, 6, 7, 8, and basically it just keeps on ramping up like The longer you have it on it, the more it ramps up, and the more it ramps up, the more damage it does. So your number one priority should be to keep all of your dots up on the target, but most of all, keep Agony up, because if it falls off, you're going to have to restart at 1 stack, or 1 tick, or whatever, and it's going to be doing low damage. So you want to keep a 20 stack, a 20 stack Agony up on all targets at all time for like maximum damage output. The third core ability that you have is Corruption, which you can put on targets, and I actually have it on all of these targets already as a permanent dot because of Absolute Corruption, which makes Corruption permanent and deal 25% more damage. But in like a PvP scenario, it just increases the duration of 40 seconds, which is still really good. And now that I'm talking about talents really quick, Writhe and Agony also makes Agony's damage like ramp up twice as high. Like baseline, it ramps up to 10 stacks, but with that you can ramp it up to 20, which doubles the damage, which is pretty insane if you can keep it at 20 stacks on everybody. Alright, next core ability is Unstable Affliction, which is it has a cast time, it's a damage over time, but you can stack up to 5 of them up on a target. And that's kind of what you're going to want to do, is get 5 soul shards and just unload 5 unstable afflictions on a target for like maximum damage. Okay, so for, the fifth core ability of Affliction Warlocks is Drain Life, which I covered in the survivability section of this video. Also, so kind of know what that's all about. And then your artifact ability, which is Reap Souls. Like when you're doing damage, like see all these purple circles on the ground? Those are souls. Whenever you do damage to people, like souls can just randomly pop up, or if you kill a target, souls pop up too. But yeah, you can use this to harvest all your souls, and then that increases all your damage dealt by 10% and doubles the effectiveness of other traits from your artifact weapon, like in here. But yeah, you want to keep this up like all the time. Like the amount of souls that you harvest only increases the duration of the buff. It doesn't increase like the effectiveness of it. So like any chance you get, just like use the Reap Souls, so then you have Deadwind Harvester up, like the buff. So you just want to maintain that like 100% of the time, so you always have the 10% increased damage and the double artifact traits. And I guess that kind of covers the six main core abilities of Affliction Warlock. Like there's tons of other abilities that are going to be used, but that's like your 6 main damaging abilities that you're going to be using in your rotation. Alright, now I'm going to go over the talents. On the level 15 tier we have Haunt, Writhe and Agony, and Drain Soul. Haunt is not the same Haunt that we remember from like Mists of Pandaria and whatnot. This Haunt is just like straight up damage, 1.26 second cast time. If the target dies within 15 seconds of you casting Haunt on it, Haunt's cooldown is reset. I mean, like, it does pretty okay damage for like when you need damage. Like right now, you can just hit Haunt and get like a 200k hit or something like that in PvP. But I would never use this over Writhe and Agony. Drain Soul replaces Drain Life. It does more damage than Drain Life, but it also heals less than Drain Life. And then we have Writhe and Agony, which basically, okay, so Agony, you put it up on targets, it can go up to 10 ticks for maximum damage, but Writhe and Agony doubles that, so it can go up to 20 ticks, which basically means that if you can keep Agony up on everybody, it doubles the damage that it does, which is really insane if you can keep it up on everybody. So I would always go Writhe and Agony for PvP. On the level 30 tier, we have Contagion, Absolute Corruption, and Mana Tap. Contagion increases the damage that you deal to targets by 12% when your Unstable Affliction is up on them. Like, this is pretty good, but you're not going to have like constant uptime of Unstable Affliction on targets because it costs the Soul Shard, and you're going to usually want to just dump Unstable Afflictions on a target anyway, so you don't want to like just have one there, one here. But yeah, so I probably wouldn't go that. Mana Tap is good. It consumes 25% of your current mana and grants you 10% increased damage for 20 seconds. but it's just kind of another maintenance buff. Like, I don't know, you use 25% of your mana, get 10% increased damage. It's just another button to press, another thing, another buff to keep up, to maintain. I just wouldn't use it because Absolute Corruption is pretty good. It increases the duration of corruption to 40 seconds in PvP, or it's permanent if it's outside of PvP, but this is a PvP guide, so yeah. But yeah, okay, so it increases the duration of corruption to 40 seconds, and it increases the damage it deals by 25%. So that's a pretty good, just straight up damage increase. And then you also don't have to worry about maintaining corruption that much, because you put it on a target, it's there for 40 seconds. And then you can just deal with other stuff, like putting those up, drain lifing, doing whatever you need it to do. Alright, on the level 45 tier, there's Demonic Circle, Mortal Coil, and Howl of Terror. This is a pretty solid tier. I go Demonic Circle because Warlocks don't have any other mobility, and you can like stick this behind pillars and stuff for a quick escape, or quick escape from like a Polymorph or Glacial Spike or something like that. It's just really useful, and it only has a 30-second cooldown, so got quite a bit of mobility. Not as much as like other classes, but for Warlocks in this expansion, it's quite a bit. And then there's Mortal Coil, which horrifies an enemy target into fleeing, incapacitating them for 3 seconds, and healing you for 11% of your maximum health. This is pretty good if you're being like trained down by like a melee. You can just Mortal Coil, they'll run away, you'll get a slight heal, and that's about it. I never really take this on Affliction though, because like with Destruction, you can Havoc a target and then Mortal Coil the other target, and you'll get a double Mortal Coil, and they'll both flee. So it just doesn't feel worth it on Affliction, where you can only do it once. And then there's Howl of Terror, which makes all enemies within 10 yards of you flee, and that's pretty good if you're being like trained down by like Death Knight Rogue, you know, like some sticky melee classes that just stay on you. You can just use that, peel them off. But yeah, I would still go with Demonic Circle because it's the only mobility that we can get, and might as well take it when we can get it. Then on the level 60 tier, there's Siphon Life, Sow of Seeds, and Soul Harvest. I would never ever take Sow of Seeds in like an arena situation because it's just an AoE ability, and it's not very good at all in arenas. It makes your Seed of Corruption now can okay, wow, tongue twister. Alright, so Seed of Corruption will now consume a Soul Shard if available, and it will embed a Demon Seed in 4 additional enemies. So it's like AoE Seed of Corruption, but yeah, don't use that in arenas. Soul Harvest is really good. It increases your damage and your pet's damage by 20%. I would take this if like you need to take this, like in certain situations where you need that 20% damage. It's good, but actually I take that back. Probably don't take this in most situations. Just go with Siphon Life, which is a damage over time effect that deals 162,830 damage over 15 seconds and heals you for 100% of the damage dealt. That's just too good to pass up because you can put it on everything and get that sustained healing, make things a little bit easier for your healer. So yeah, on the level 60 tier, I would go Siphon Life like 99% of the time. In the level 75 tier, there's Demon Skin, Burning Rush, and Dark Pact. Since 7.1, they Demon Skin and Demonic Circle swapped locations, so as Affliction used to be able to take Demon Skin and Dark Pact, just be super tanky. But now that they switched locations, you have to choose Dark Pact or Demon Skin. Demon Skin increases your soul leech absorption, or it not increases, it passively, it recharges at a rate of 1% maximum health every 1 second, and can be a maximum of 20% of your maximum health versus 15, so that's pretty good, just constant survivability. Burning Rush, totally ignore that, it kills you and increases your movement speed. Dark Pact, I went over that in the survivability section also, but yeah, out of Demon Skin and Dark Pact, I would go with Dark Pact most of the time, if not all the time, because if you're getting trained down and you're locked down, like getting stunned and stuff, getting trained by a DK and a Windwalker Monk or something, you can Dark Pact, and that'll give you a 400% shield. Not 400% of your total health, but 400% of 20% of your demon's current health. And you can use that while you're stunned, so if you're like in a stun lock from like a Windwalker monk, you can use that and it'll substantially decrease the damage that you take. Like if you use this, it's basically dying versus living. Like that's the go-to talent for this tier. Excuse me. Alright, for the level 90 tier, you have Grimoire of Supremacy, Grimoire of Service, and Grimoire of Sacrifice. Grimoire of Supremacy allows you to like maintain permanent control over Infernals and Doom Guards, instead of them being like a cooldown that you can use for like stunning and shit. And those just do like basically more damage than your normal pets would, and they have some special abilities too, which I'll go over in a sec. And then Grimoire of Service, you can use it and it summons one extra demon depending on what one you use. There's Grimoire of Imp, Grimoire of Voidwalker, Grimoire of Succubus, and Grimoire of Fellhunter. If you're going this route, always take Grimoire of Fellhunter, because then you'll have a Fellhunter interrupt and another interrupt from this, because once you use it, it'll summon a Fellhunter that'll deal 100% increased damage, it'll be there for 25 seconds, and it'll interrupt the target. So then you'll have two interrupts or spell locks. And then there's Grimoire of Sacrifice, which sacrifices your pet, and when you do that, you will sometimes deal extra shadow damage when you deal damage. Okay, so like, that's a pretty good ability, but I would never recommend using that in a rated PvP situation. Like, in random battlegrounds, go for it, like, it'll be fun, but if you take this, then you don't have any interrupts or spell locks, and that's really bad. You don't want to have that in arena. Do not recommend. Okay, so I go with Grimoire of Supremacy, and then I use the Doom Guard, because the Doom Guard can do ranged Doom Bolts, which deal quite a bit of damage. See 85k, 85k. So yeah, that does a lot of damage. I also get an interrupt from that, Shadow Lock. So I still have a Spell Lock when I have the Doom Guard. And then he can also do this, which slows the target's movement speed by 80% for 30 seconds, but it's decreased to 4%, I mean, not 4%, 4 seconds in PvP, but that is still really good. If you're getting trained down, you can hit that, run away, they'll be slowed by 80%, and you can reposition yourself. So yeah, I would recommend going Grimoire of Supremacy or Grimoire of Service for PvP. They're both good. I would say Grimoire of Supremacy versus melee, and Grimoire of Service versus ranged, or not ranged, casters or whatnot, because you have the two interrupts then versus just the one, and the slow. Okay, so for the level 100 talent, you have Soul Effigy, Phantom Singularity, and Soul Conduit. Phantom Singularity, you put it on a target and it does damage to all enemies within 25 yards, and then it heals you or it puts a dot on that target, and it also deals all damage, or it deals damage to all enemies within 25 yards and heals you for 30% of the damage that it deals. I use this for like 2s and duels. That's about it, because in a 3v3, if you put that up, it's gonna break CC. Like if you have someone feared, put this on a different target, and they're within 25 yards of that target, it's gonna break CC, and you do not want that. Soul Effigy, it's okay. Like, it's pretty good, but I wouldn't use it. You put it down, and it creates a little Soul Effigy right here, and you can put, like, your dots on that Soul Effigy, and 30% of the damage that it deals to the Soul Effigy will be dealt to the target that the Soul Effigy is linked to. So you can, like, have dots up on him, and dots up on the Soul Effigy, and dots up on your target. It'll deal full damage from the dots on the target, and 35% damage from the dots on the Soul Effigy. But I don't know, it can be destroyed in PvP. They can just kill it right away, and you also have to take the time to put dots up on the Soul Effigy when you could be doing something more important. And it also has a 1.26 second cast time, so you're gonna have to stop to cast it and stuff. And that could just be bad. Wow, excuse me. Okay, so the last one is Soul Conduit, which every soul shard that you spend has a 20% chance to be refunded. Every Warlock spec has this option for their level 100 talent tier, and I would recommend that you take this, because your main damaging ability, or not your main damaging ability, but like your main ability is Unstable Affliction, and that costs 1 Soul Shard. So if you have a 20% chance per Unstable Affliction cast to get another Soul Shard, that means that you can cast another Unstable Affliction, and more Unstable Afflictions means more damage. So yeah, I would go Soul Conduit for like 3v3 situations, and Phantom Singularity for like duels, 2s, or just like random battlegrounds. Okay, now I'm going to cover Honor Talents. Alright, sorry about that. In the first tier, there's Gladiator's Medallion, Adaption, and Relentless. Gladiator's Medallion is just a trinket. You use it, breaks you out of CC, 2-minute cooldown. Pretty straightforward. And then Adaption removes any loss of control effect with a duration of 5 seconds or more. This effect can only occur once every 1 minute. Then there's Relentless, which decreases the duration of incoming crowd control effects by 20%. I would go Gladiator's Medallion 100% of the time, unless you're playing an Orc or a Human. The Orc's passive racial already decreases the duration of incoming crowd control effects, so that, stacked up with this, means that you're just going to have like way shorter crowd control duration on you at all times, which is really powerful. Or if you're a Human, which has a built-in trinket already, you can go Adaption or Relentless also, which is pretty powerful. But if you're not playing Orc or Human, I would go Gladiator's Medallion for sure. On tier 2, there's Train of Thought, Mind Quickness, and Initiation. I would go Mind Quickness 100% of the time. Train of Thought increases damage by 15%, and being attacked will cancel this effect for 8 seconds. And in a PvP situation, you're going to be attacked, so this just becomes totally obsolete, so this is pretty bad. I would never go with this. Then Initiation, critical chance of your damaging abilities and attacks increased by 30% on targets at or above 80% health. I just don't think that that's a very good talent in comparison to Mind Quickness, which is just like straight up 6% haste increase at all times, which is pretty good. So I'd go Mind Quickness 100% of the time. In tier 3, there's Curse of Tongues, Curse of Weakness, and Curse of Fragility. I would probably go for Curse of Fragility in most cases, because it reduces the target's maximum health by 20% for 10 seconds. So you can like line that up with like your partner's CC. I mean not CC, your partner's burst, and you can use that. Instantly decreases the target's max health by 20%, so you're going to be able to burst him down a lot faster. And then Curse of Tongues forces the target to speak in Demonic, increasing the casting time of all spells by 30% for 10 seconds. That's also pretty good, like against healers. If you're training down someone and you can use that, they're gonna heal like 30% less, because all of their castable heals are gonna take 30% longer for 10 seconds. And then there's Curse of Weakness, which reduces the target's physical damage dealt by 25% for 10 seconds. That's pretty good, like I guess against warriors or anyone else who primarily does physical damage, but I would still usually take Curse of Fragility over these two. Just seems more useful. Alright, on the tier 4 we have Essence Drain, Casting Circle, and Netherward. First I'd like to say I would never take Casting Circle in like any situation. It summons a Casting Circle for 10 seconds. While within the Casting Circle, the duration of silence and interrupt effects are reduced by 70%. Limit 1. Like, it's not bad, but compared to Essence Drain and Netherward, it's pretty bad. Okay, so Essence Drain, whenever you heal yourself with Drain Life, the enemy target deals 10% reduced damage to you for 6 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So you can basically have a 50% damage reduction from that target at like all times if you can just keep Essence Drain up on them when they're attacking you, which is really, really strong. So I would baseline go Essence Drain all the time, unless you're going against like a Frost Mage. You could go Netherward, because Netherward surrounds the caster with a shield that lasts for 5 seconds, reflecting all harmful spells cast on you, which means like if you see him casting Glacial Spike, you can hit that right before he casts it, and it's gonna reflect it right back in his face and probably like one shot him if he's at half health. Like, I've had some pretty crazy situations where I'm almost dead and he's at like half health and he's casting a Glacial Spike and I hit Nether Ward right before he finishes casting. It hits me, reflects back, and one shots him, and then I win. It's probably the most satisfying ability that Warlocks have. But Essence Drain is just statistically, it's just better in most situations, at least. All right, in Tier 5, we have Endless Affliction, Soul Burn, and Soul Siphon. Endless Affliction increases the duration of Unstable Affliction by 4 seconds. Soul Burn consumes a Soul Shard, increasing the duration of your next Unstable Affliction by 10 seconds, last 10 seconds. And Soul Siphon, when you have Unstable Affliction active on 2 or more targets, you generate 1 Soul Shard every 3 seconds. I would say that the best bet here is going Endless Affliction, which just increases the duration of your afflictions, or Endless Affliction increases the duration of your Unstable Afflictions on targets by 4 seconds, which is just like a pretty good damage increase. Soul Burn is good, but you have to use the Soul Shard, which could be another Unstable Affliction, so I don't even know if that's worth it. Well, I'm sure it is, but I just think Endless Affliction is better. And then Soul Siphon, the way that I play Affliction is I dump Unstable Affliction onto one target. I don't keep Unstable Affliction on 2 targets at like all times, so this is not that relevant. I would go Endless Affliction 100% of the time. And then on the last tier, there's Amplify Afflictions, Rotten Decay, and Soul Swap. Amplify Afflictions reduces the glue. Okay, one sec, tongue twister. Amplify Afflictions reduces the global cooldown of your Curses, Agony, Corruption, and Unstable Affliction by 0.5 seconds. So that's pretty good, because then you can just like boom, 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 spam out all of your dots right away. But, I don't know, it's not that good compared to Rotten Decay. And then Soul Swap inhales your damage over time effects from one target, preserving their duration. The next time you use Soul Swap within 10 seconds, will exhale those damage over time effects onto the new target and deal 6% of the target's total health in shadow damage. I probably wouldn't use this ever. I would just keep all my dots on all targets manually and not swap them, you know. Yeah. But Rotten Decay, this is an extremely powerful ability. Your Drain Life refreshes the duration of Unstable Affliction, Corruption, and Agony on the target. So, all of your damage over time effects besides Siphon Life, you can put on the target, and when you use Drain Life, it'll refresh the duration. It's not happening right now because it's an honor talent, and I'm not in PvP combat, but yeah. So what you can do is you can like Unstable Affliction, Drain Life, Unstable Affliction, Drain Life. It'll just keep refreshing the duration, and that's how you can get like maximum damage out of your Unstable Afflictions. And if you see someone's like about to run out on Agony, you can just quick Drain Life them and refresh everything on them, and heal yourself in the process. So Rotten Decay, I would go most of the time. It's super good. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the basic rotation of an Affliction Warlock. Even though Affliction Warlocks don't really have a set rotation, it's basically keep all of your dots up on the target, being Corruption, Agony, and Siphon Life. Keep those up all the time on all of your targets, like so. And that should be your number 1 priority, and then your number 2 priority should be to keep Agony up on the target so it doesn't reset back down to 1 tick. So you can keep it up at 20 stacks or 20 ticks at all times on all targets. And when you have max soul shards or quite a few soul shards, you can unload some unstable afflictions. Drain life in between them to increase the duration back, or refresh the duration back to max. Use Reap Souls when you can to keep the Deadwind Harvester buff up on you at all times. And use Drain Life as a filler when all dots are up and everything's good, everything's looking good. Drain Life should just be used as a filler. That's pretty much your basic rotation, if you want to call it that, is keep dots up, keep Agony up, Unstable Affliction when you want to like do big damage and you have soul shards, and then Drain Life as a filler, and Reap Souls, keep up the Deadwind Harvester buff at all times. You can like make a weak aura or something to show you when Deadwind Harvester's up, so then you can keep it up at all times. I used to have that, but somehow it's not here anymore. But I'll probably put that back on there at some point. So yeah, that is pretty much your basic rotation on what, or your basic abilities, what you want to do in a PvP situation. Keep dots up, keep Agony up, drain life as a filler, Unstable Affliction when you have soul shards. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to go over in this guide is artifact trait progression. As an Affliction Warlock, you're going to get Reap Souls and Crystalline Shadows baseline. Reap Souls grants you the Reap Souls artifact ability, and Crystalline Shadows increases your shadow damage done by 2%. Then, from there, I'm going to go to Inherently Unstable, which increases the critical strike chance of Unstable Affliction by 6%. From there, I'm going to go to Imitatable Agony, which increases the damage dealt by Agony by 16%. From there to Shadows of the Flesh, which increases my Soul Leech absorption by 3%. And then I'm going to get my first golden trait, which is a passive called Harvester of Souls. Each time that corruption deals damage, it has a 15% chance to deal 43,708 shadow damage to the target and heal you for 100% of the damage dealt. So you're going to have corruption on all your targets, and 15% of the ticks are going to heal you for 100% of 49,000 damage, or however much it is in PvP, which is pretty nice, just more passive healing. And then from there, I'm going to go all the way back to here and grab this, Sweet Souls, which increases my health stone heal and allows party raid members who use my health stones, that'll also heal me. I went over that in the health stone survivability part of this video. From there, I'm going to get this, which increases the critical strike damage dealt of Agony, Corruption, Drain Life, and Unstable Affliction by 13%, which is just a pretty good damage increase across the board. From there, I'm going to get my second golden trait. It's worth noting that this seems to be the only golden trait that's really important for Affliction Warlocks, because both Wrath of Consumption and Soul Flame both only activate after you kill a target, and in like an arena, once you kill a target, the game is pretty much over. Like, that's it. So Wrath of Consumption is a passive. After you kill a target, your damage over time effect you deal is increased by 2%. Wait, let me reread that. After you kill a target, your damage over time effects deal 2% increased damage for the next 20 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Okay, in like a 3v3, there's 3 people. If you kill one person, it's going to be over anyway, so I just get this because then I can grab this. Hideous Corruption increases the damage dealt by corruption by 8%, which stacks up to 12% because it's 4% each for each point. So 12% increase on the damage of corruption is pretty good. From there, I'm just going to go up through here to grab this. Increases your shadow damage dealt by 1%. Grab this, Soul Flame. When you kill a target, it soul bursts into flames, dealing 50,432 shadow flame damage to all nearby enemies. And then from there, I'll grab this, which increases healing you receive from Drain Life by 30%, because it's a 3-rank trait, so it's 10%, 10%, 10%, 30% total. From there, I'm going to grab this. Each time Agony and Corruption deal damage, they have a 10% chance to cause your next Unstable Affliction to instantly deal 12,194 shadow damage, stacking up to 5 times. That's pretty strong. I'm then going to skip this because Seeds of Corruption is not, like, I don't think you're ever going to use that in a PvP situation, really, or at least in a 2v2, 3v3 arena. You have better things to use your global cooldowns on. After I get Compounding Horror, I'm going to move down to here and grab Drain to a Husk, which increases the damage dealt by Drain Life by 2%, which is really good. Actually, I might grab this earlier than that. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, after that, I'll grab this Unstable Affliction. When Unstable Affliction expires, it has a 6% chance to reapply itself. After that, I'm going to go over here and fill in Seeds of Doom, because that's going to be my last one. Then after that, I'm going to pile all my points into the trait that's going to pop up once I have a full artifact weapon. And for Relics, in case you didn't know, Relics do not work in PvP unless it's like World PvP or Duels. So you should always just go for the highest item level Relic, because that's what matters in instance PvP. So yeah, that is the artifact trait progression for Affliction Warlocks. That brings an end to this guide. I hope that you liked the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you did not like the video. Please leave feedback in the comments on what I could do better in upcoming videos, and what you would like to see. What would you like to see in this video that I did not include? This is only my second video on YouTube as of today, so yeah, any feedback is very much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it helped you out. Have a nice day. Peace.